Hello again, everybody. So, we've got an absolutely terrific session for you now. I want to start by just calling on our Twitter meister, Jakob. We're trending, I hear.
The microphone works? Yes. So, yeah, I've got some great news. We are trending now, a trending topic in Latvia and in Belgium. So, congratulations to everyone who is actively joining the Twitter debate.
Hands up, anyone from Belgium? Very well done. Lots of good tweeting. Fantastic.
We have 500 unique tweets just for today. 1,700 when we include retweets as well, so it's a huge debate. Apart from the obvious topics like digital or digital single market, I also see quite a lot or quite many tweets about language or transformation. So this is happening, and I will certainly tweet from Digital Agenda later on the first analysis of the content of the tweets, and I will be happy to collect also questions for our next speakers.
And I will be starting a Twitter campaign to get those wonderful Sute Sivas ladies onto Eurovision. I thought they were fantastic. So, what we're going to do now is we're going to have 6 inspirational speakers, each really covering a topic that is important to the digital strategy. And for each one, what we're going to do is we're going to have 10 minutes from the speaker, and then we're going to have 10 minutes for you to ask questions and to debate the issues that have been raised. So, as the person is speaking, you have the Twitter hashtag DA15EU, or just think of your questions for you to raise when we finish. So let me start off with our first speaker. And our first speaker is Stina Ehrensvard. She's Chief Executive and Founder of YubiKey, but her particular topic is one that exercises all of us: cybersecurity.
Hi, Europe. My name is Stina. And here is my keychain. I got my key to my house, to my bike, and this key I use to securely log in to the entire internet. In a time when password hacks has compromised more than 1 billion personal data records, $1 trillion are lost in fraud, and too many people do not know how to protect themselves. I'm honored to be invited here to speak how this third key, with new open internet security standards, can help us to reinforce the trust for our internet. But first, I want to go back in time, 60 years back, to a time when the car changed our modern world and delivered on its freedom, and speed. This was a time when there was no safety in the car. There were no seatbelts. And many of the drivers who went into the cars, they never came back. An engineer at Volvo, his name was Nils Bohlin. He realized that for a safety belt, a security belt, to be efficient, to be accepted by the everyday user, it had to be simple. It could not be uncomfortable even for a minute, and it had to work with one hand. With those objectives, he developed the 3-point seatbelt, and he also led the development of this into a new, open, global standard, saving millions of lives. So what can we learn? What can we learn from Nils Bohlin when developing protection for our digital lives. On this picture, you got 3 second-factor authentication technologies that are used today to protect us. You combine a simple password or a PIN with a device that generates secure login credentials and changes every time you log in. You got the smart card. It has the best security. But smart cards has failed to scale beyond governments and high security applications because it's too costly and complicated. It suffers from drivers, readers, middleware, and client software. The other technology in the middle, the one-time password devices, they have won wider adoption because they're easier. They don't require the same heavy infrastructure. And in Sweden, where most of the online banks actually launch with these one-time password tokens, my bank did not. They hesitated of the friction and the unfriendly user experience of having to retype a passcode from one device to another. So this bank settled on a software certificate. And I happen to know a hacker, a former hacker, who told me that it would take him about a day to write the code to hack into my bank account. I called up the bank, and I forwarded his message, and I loved the response I got. Please tell your friend to not do that. So the other one, the phone, has become a popular method for strong authentication. You don't need to carry additional hardware. You don't need to deploy it. But a software on a phone that is constantly connected to the internet suffer from the same problems as this certificate that was eventually abandoned by the Swedish bank. It is vulnerable for malware. So I started my company in YubiKey in Stockholm about a year after the cool Swedish music streaming company Spotify. Spotify has a tagline, and it's named, "Everyone loves music." I knew I could not have "Everyone loves second-factor authentication hardware." It's my tagline. I have a background in product design, and I had teamed up with great security engineers, and we had come up with a concept that we thought was worth trying out. We called it the YubiKey, and we named it after the vision of having one single, ubiquitous key for all online services. It identifies itself as a keyboard, so when you plug it into the USB port, you don't need any client software. You touch a little button, and it generates a long passcode as if it were typed in from the computer. Eventually, we added NFC, so you could tap it to a phone for secure access to mobile devices, and a really small version that sits inside the USB port of a computer. We sold this product online with free open-source software components. And eventually, we had sold to 150 countries, ranging from security geeks, governments, and the internet thought leaders in Silicon Valley. But independent, if you have a phone, a YubiKey, a smart card, or a token, until recently, there has not been one way for any people to share their strong authentication devices across multiple services with respect for privacy. And this question initiated a dialogue between YubiKey and Google in Silicon Valley. And together with Google and chip provider NXP, we developed U2F, Universal Second Factor. It's a new open authentication protocol with the benefits of a traditional smart card. It protects against man-in-the-middle attack, against phishing and advanced malware, but without the complexity of traditional smart cards. And the secret? We have built it into the platforms and browsers. So it works with a simple PIN and a touch, and you log it in. The user doesn't have to install anything. Successfully proven for all Google staff, and now available also for Gmail users. This protocol has been part of a new open standards organization named FIDO Alliance, supported by 200 companies, including Microsoft, Visa, and MasterCard. The specs are open. They're open for anyone to review. They're open for anyone to integrate into their own services. And they're open for anyone to build their own version of U2F keys. So this is a Photoshop picture. Today, you can buy your secure online identity at Amazon.com. But in the near future, you will be able to buy it at your local convenience store, hanging among the gift cards. And you will sign it up for your bank, your government, your email, your healthcare records, and without any of these service providers owning and controlling your identity. Every time you sign it up for a service provider, it generates a new key pair of its encryption secrets that's only stored by that specific service. And in that way, one key can be used for any number of services without these services sharing any information about users. So we choose Trust the Net as the byliner for the company. And to realize the vision for a single digital market, the cornerstone is that we can trust the internet. We need to ensure that 500 million people can connect and do businesses across borders without getting their identities compromised. And what did we learn? What did we learn from the seatbelt innovator? We learned that for a security solution to scale, it had to be simple, open, and available for everyone. Thank you.
Stina, thank you so much. I mean, just to quote you the figures, I think they are that if you ask people whether they trust the internet in their own country, 60% of them say yes. If you ask them if they trust it if they're transacting something that's based in another country, that drops dramatically by half. So only a third say that they trust the net. So trust is a key issue. Just to be absolutely clear, you're not selling a product here. This is a standard.
Yes.
Okay, so
let's. And our company is one of many companies who develop products that fits the standard.
So essentially, a platform. Tweetmeister, what are we hearing from our Twitter feed?
Okay. So I just had one question right now sent. If you give me 1 second, I'll open it here. So, based on your speech, Janus Sangsgaard, I hope I read it correctly, is asking whether the Estonian e-citizen smart card is already a failed platform.
I would say that Estonian platform is based on traditional smart cards, which are more complex. And the smart cards needs drivers, readers, client software, and a CA. That's why the phone apps, that's the certificate authorities. That's why the phone apps are becoming more popular. Those are not secure. So I would say what the Estonian government is actually quite an achievement. I am very impressed with the back-end infrastructure they have developed, with all the services they can, but I envision that in the near future they may want to look at other protocols, at other standards than the traditional smart card that can help to where they can keep this existing backend but may have other tokens.
I mean, essentially, how is this future-proofed? I mean, what's to stop some hacker in his bedroom, they always work in the bedroom, some hacker in their bedroom, you know, just trying to get into this system too? I mean, how will we know that within a couple of years this one too won't be a busted flush?
I think it's a very valid question, but the way it's designed, it is a security chip, it's called secure element, that is really the most secure thing you can build, that is not connected to the internet, that is not dependent on vulnerable infrastructure around. It's actually a secure link that you set up between a service provider and the chip itself. And I think that is a key sort of cornerstone in it. As soon as you're sort of starting to rely on service providers, on the infrastructure and networks, that's where the malware and the hackers come in. So having a direct link between the little key that you have in your pocket and any online service is sort of removing a lot of the, the vulnerabilities we're seeing today.
And it strikes me that the day of the password is very much numbered. I mean, when you start to have to put in numbers, letters, characters, change it every month, have a different one for every single thing you do, it's just the end. We can't cope with the complexity.
No.
Okay, let's have a look at the audience. Can we have some lights up? Ah, there you are, hello. Any questions from you about security and your thoughts about cybersecurity? You're an extraordinarily quiet audience.
Yes, it's not a nice topic.
Somebody there you sir, with a very fetching pink tie.
Yes, thank you very much. Thank you for the interesting presentation. My question would be, what is the precise...
And who are you, sir? Sorry.
My name is Hendrik Kapma. I'm representing the European semiconductor industry. And my question is, what is the role of Google in your platform or standard?
So Google is a co-creator of the protocol, together with YubiKey and NXP, which is another chip provider. Google has built-in support of this in the browser, and that is actually key, because in that way you can remove the client software and the middleware that is a problem with the traditional smart card. And then you can also make protection against man in the browser. So I would say Google and the other browsers that are now coming on board are vital for this standard to exist.
Okay, sir, your question, and who are you?
Yeah, hi, my name is Matthias. I'm a journalist from Berlin. I was at a FIDO Alliance presentation in Berlin, and the first 1.5 hours I had really great problems to understanding of how this whole thing works in practice. But what I did found out or understood was in the end that if you lose the key, you have to disable any login that you created with that specific key. Now, I don't really think that's ease of use as with a safety belt.
Okay, so the existing model where you have identity providers that will be your hub for accessing other services will continue to exist for those applications. I'm seeing a future where you have a direct link to your bank and to your government and your healthcare record, but then a lot of the other stuff where you don't really care about privacy and security as much, you will use Google or any of the other single sign-on services so you don't have to register for all these services.
Madam, and where are you from?
Karen Padmore from HPC Wales. My question isn't a technical one, it's actually about the business model and the monetizing of that type of product.
Someone said, actually from a competitor to me, said, Stina, you're destroying the market. Now we can't sell services, we can't sell software, we can't sell readers, drivers, or CAs. And I said, well, that's happened to Kodak too. Kodak were selling films, And then the digital camera come and just made it easy and made the film obsolete. And yes, so the business model is actually trying to remove a lot of the cost and complexity that is associated with security. Security should be free. It should be integrated into platform. You should not have to go to expensive vendor to get it. And my business model is to sell millions of these keys. They are okay margins, volume keys. That's my business model. And I'm a profitable company since many years back.
At the back there. Sir, who are you?
Hello. Stina, my name is Manas Hanratty. I work for a company called Fast Track to IT, based in Dublin, Ireland. Stina, I absolutely love your product. I love your approach. I love the fact that you find a simple solution to a horrendous problem. I'm still one of those people that has about, I don't know how many, over 50 passwords, and it is painful. I frequently have to type that little section on the website, forget your password, and go and get another one and so on. So I love this. You telling me I can just forget all that and now just have all my passwords taken care of with the key?
So this initiative had just started. Yeah. And today, the new protocol that I'm selling today works with Gmail. By end of this year, there will be a lot of cloud services, banks, and governments who supports this too, but it's going to take many years before every service provider you want to use is supporting it. So meanwhile, my recommendation is to use a password manager. There are companies called LastPass, PasswordSafe, PassPay, that actually are, there's some free, they're open source, and they're a paid version, where you have a vault to manage and store passwords. And then you can log into this vault with a YubiKey. That's sort of the near term, I would say probably five years, a decade, before we see this everywhere.
Okay, so that was just a warm-up question. The real question was...
This will be a quick one, sir.
Okay, the real question is back to the hacking stuff, because that's the bit that always worries people. If you're saying that you're burying software in browsers and in Gmail and whatever the service is, surely once you put software anywhere, then the hackers will go looking for it. And eventually they'll find it and they'll do their business.
So please rephrase that question.
Are you prone to getting hacked, really, is what I'm asking.
I mean, hackers are as smart as us.
Yeah, exactly.
And they will continue to. And so I think, this technology and this standard will continue to have to evolve like all standards. If you look at the GSM, if you look at this first 3-point seatbelt, everything will evolve. And my first reaction, we're not going to have a complete security for anything, but this is as good as it gets.
Okay.
Okay, and on that note, I'm going to have to stop you. Thank you so much, Stina.
Thanks.
Goodbye.